What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Brown Gen. Today, we kick off a really cool challenge in the crypto market where we're going to start a $1,000 portfolio. We're actually going to be doing this alongside some of your favorite content creators like Crypto Grady and Christian Peter. And the idea here is we'll start off by investing $1,000 into a select few tokens and sort of watch how they sort of change over the next few months, potentially years, as we get ready for the crypto market. Now, before we get started and talk more about that, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up icon, like the video, and share this video with a friend. And also, if you want to, feel free to play along. Feel free to sort of either open an account on CoinGecko and sort of track the portfolio that I'm doing, or that your favorite content creator is doing, or maybe even consider buying some on your own. That being said, this is not financial advice. So remember, I'm not a financial advisor. You got to do your own research before you do anything in this space. That being said, let's get started by first talking a bit about the rules. So the plan here is to start with $1,000 in a crypto portfolio. I've already created my wallet. I've put a little over 1,000. I'm going to talk about how we'll get that to 1,000 and sort of get the token mix that we want. The second is no position in the portfolio can be more than 40%. And that means every time I go into it, if I notice that one token has sort of the price appreciation has gone much higher, and now as a result, the token is, or that token valuation is more than 40% of the portfolio, well, that means I'll have to rebalance it myself, and I'll talk about that on the channel as well. The other thing is, to make it easy to track, you want to make sure there are only EVM compatible tokens for tracking. This makes it so that you don't have tokens that are potentially on like Trust Wallet or some other wallets where I have to show like multiple different wallets to get to the final amount. Only things EVM compatible, things like like Ethereum, etc., right? Or potentially bridged versions of those tokens. And then every week, what'll be really cool is I will be covering updates on the tokens in the wallet. So it's sort of not just a, hey, look at my portfolio, but here's what happened. Here's what's going to happen to the various tokens that I've purchased. So this is what I think we should be doing. I hope that sort of makes sense. That being said, before we get into it, let me just show you what was shared on Twitter. So on Twitter, I asked a question a few days ago. If you only had $1,000 to invest in cryptocurrencies and you couldn't put more than 40% in one token, which token would be your biggest bag? I gave some options. I gave the Jewel option because I have a lot of DeFi Kingdoms followers. And not surprising, Jewel came out on top, then Ethereum and Avalanche. And the other was sort of kind of split. You got a bunch of smaller tokens. You got Cardano spoken of here, ERG as well. Some tokens I don't really know much about, like Hypercycle. Once again, I don't really know a lot of these tokens, so I got to do a bunch of research. But as you know, I want to create a sort of portfolio that makes sense, that will have a high likelihood of doing very well in the next bull market. So with that being said, let me share with you my plan. And this should come as no surprise. You guys know I'm not a hugely risk-taking person. So at the start, we're going to start with 40% in Bitcoin, 40% in Ethereum, and 20% in Avalanche. For those of you who are, coming from DeFi Kingdoms who are watching this going, wait, why aren't you investing in Jewel? Well, my belief is by investing in Avalanche, I'm kind of investing in Jewel as well, because the Avalanche subnet is DeFi Kingdoms, right? So it's sort of a proxy way to do it. And this way I'm insulated because I already have a huge investment in DeFi Kingdoms. But as you sort of know, Bitcoin and Ethereum, these are like sort of my favorite tokens, especially as we get to that bull run. Like I love sharing a chart with all of you, really, showing you guys the cyclical nature of the market. And in that cyclical nature, what you typically see is, it goes from peaks to troughs. So let me just sort of bring that up on the screen as well. Sorry, I just got to zoom into this thing. It's never easy. So you can see here the psychology of a market cycle, right? We go from sort of the bottoms all the way to incredible and mass euphoria. Then it starts to sell off and comes back up a tiny bit to complacency, sells off and waits for the next cycle. Now, what is not here is each time you get sort of higher highs and higher lows. So it's not like, it's not like a Bitcoin's going from $1 to 1,000 back to $1 to 1,000. It's like it goes from $1 to like 1,000 to like 100 to like 5,000 to like 2,000 to like 12,000 or 19,000 down to 7,000, then 69,000, right? So it's sort of like, zigzagging up. But we must not forget that the market happens in cycles. So that's why I'm sort of going with this portfolio. We got Banks in the chat. Finally can catch you live. Hey, Banks, thanks for joining. Hope you find this challenge interesting. We got Crypto Keith as well. Yeah, very late night stream. It's 1 a.m. and it's my third stream of the day. I'm just trying to pump out a ton of videos. I was really like slacking for the last probably like half a year where I started I learned about live streaming and I started doing like one video every week or maybe 2 videos a week. And now I'm trying to do 2 to 3 every single day and sort of give out this content because you know what? The time to relax is in the bull market. The time to really plant the seeds is in the bear market when we have some incredible prices. So looking back at sort of our total crypto market, right? We have Bitcoin, which has done phenomenally over the last little while. And that's because BlackRock has submitted for an ETF, really solidifying and almost making Bitcoin become a little more mainstream. As such, that has sort of brought up a lot of the other cryptos. That being said, we're not even close to all-time highs. We're not even halfway there to the all-time high of Bitcoin. And Crypto Keith brings up a very important point. So the Bitcoin halving is actually April 2024. And typically what happens is now those mining resources come down significantly. When those mining resources come down significantly, all of a sudden you have potentially more demand. That really depends on adoption, but supply has come down. So that typically leads to an increase in price. And what we've seen in the last couple bull runs is 6 months is probably the time it takes from the halving for the next bull run for crypto to start. So that's why I'll keep reemphasizing October to December of 2024 is my target date for the bull run, for the crypto bull run anyways. Obviously, it can happen sooner. It can happen later. We literally don't have a crystal ball. All we can do is set ourselves up to take maximum opportunity. So maybe I'll sort of go over to Trader Joe's. So one of the things I talk about a lot is I do not like having tokens that are bridged. I don't like having non-native tokens on a chain. But for the sake of this challenge and to make this easy, I was looking at SushiSwap and trading. You know what? Maybe I can show it here. If I go to sushi.com, and what I was trying to do was swap and put this on Arbitrum chain. So go to cross chain here, go from Avalanche to Arbitrum. And if I put all of my 81 tokens here, you'll see the price impact was significant. Let me just switch here. You see, I lose like $50 doing that. Literally, sorry, maybe I'll make it bigger so you can see it. I lose $50 over here. It's just not worth it. So instead of doing that, I'm like, you know what? I trust Avalanche. It's a chain. I'm not as worried about sort of bridge problems. I'm just going to hold all my tokens on Avalanche unless I need to use another EVM compatible chain like Polygon or something in the future, in which case I can bridge there. And by the way, I don't want ARB. I was going to look for Ethereum. But you can see here, it's a $50 conversion, and that doesn't even include sort of the gas fees I have to pay as well. So the price impact is damn terrible, right? Like, let's say I instead put 1 AVAX. You see, I'm only paying 10 cents or 0.49. It goes to like 3 to 4% once I put 81, right? Like, yeah, it's 4%. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. So I will be using Trader Joe's, and Trader Joe's is a sort of decentralized exchange on the Avalanche network. It's one of the most popular ones next to Pangolin as well. So now let's put 40% of $1,000 into Bitcoin. So that's, let me go to, I have Avalanche here. I'm going to select token. I go to top. I'm looking for BTC.B. That's the one I'm here. And let's try 30. What does 30 give us? 0.012. It's hard sometimes because I can't tell. Because it won't be a perfect exercise, right? Like one of the things is I'm trying to get as close as possible. Will I? I don't know. If I hit swap, what does it say? So you can see Rabby Wallet here. I want to make sure I'm aiming for about $400 worth of Bitcoin. And you can see here the price isn't bad, right? So maybe I'll zoom it in. I would pay 375.9 in AVAX, and I would get about 375.68 in Bitcoin, which is like I'm paying 32 cents. You really want, or 22 cents, you really want to make sure that you're maximizing your funds and not sort of paying excessive gas or anything for this. Even here, right? Sorry, just so you can see here. And this is why I love Rabby Wallet. It tells me here's what the transaction would look like. So I want to aim for $400 worth of Bitcoin. So let me just try like 32 and see how this goes. Swap. I'm gonna try to keep making this bigger. Perfect. 400.7. All right. So let us kind of do this. I think 400.7. I pay 50 cents in gas or whatever. I'm okay with that. Sure. Begin signing process. And by the way, at the end of this, I want to aim to have $1,000 as a total value. Everything else I will send back to my original wallet, or my YouTube wallet. And this way I can make sure I'm fair, right? I start with 1,000. So you can see here, and by the way, it sucks. Doing StreamYard is hard sometimes because you have to zoom in. So as you can see, the transaction went through without a hitch. I have 0.01357 Bitcoin, just 100 more of this, or actually like 80 more of this, and I have a full Bitcoin here, okay? Now let's look at Avalanche. Now I want to get Ethereum. So I'm going to get wrapped ETH. So that's WETH.E, right? And the .E extension is what they use for Avalanche. So let's do the same sort of thing. I think it's 32. Let me hit swap and see what I get. Swap. 399.15. Okay, or 401. You know what? I'm going to cancel. I want to get a little less ETH just in case. 31.5. Trying to make sure I get as close as possible to that number. 394.8. Okay, reject. Cancel. Let's try 0.8. I'm very meticulous with my numbers, as you can probably tell. So 398. Let's reject one last time. Let's try 0.9. Okay. Oh, here. Okay. So now I get 399.84 and I paid 400. So let's do that. You see, I love how this like literally tells me what the GUI is currently, the last 100. So it sort of prices my gas accordingly, begin signing process. And as you know, I have a sort of Lattice Grid Plus, which I believe is like an incredible tool. So I am going to use that. And if you're sort of so inclined to check it out, like remember, I'm not sponsored by them, but I love this tool. This tool has completely changed the game for me. I'm actually using one of these Lattice Grid cards right now. It allows me to make multiple wallets. And I just, I'm not going to pull the card out right now because it's in the machine, but I can pull this out. I have the default wallet on here, and I just put different cards in for different wallets, and I just label them. So it's super easy. And like, this is what I see when I sign. Very similar, right? The transactions, it's so cool. And like, it takes up such a little space on your actual setup. And these things, they sell it so fast, right? Like if I go here, I don't want to click here just because it might put my address because I had bought it from here originally. But you can see here, it sort of supports all of it. It even supports DeFi Kingdoms if you're sort of so inclined, right? It's such a huge upgrade from my Ledger, which, I still have a Ledger. I use this when I travel, so I can quest and do my Gen 0 summons and other stuff. But yeah, pretty cool. All right, so now let's go to Rabby Wallet, and I'm going to zoom in. So I have 1,014, so that's too much. I'm going to make sure I change that. If I click on this, what it does is it shows me. I wonder if there's a way to make this damn thing bigger. Is there a way to see it? Okay, so I have $400 in Bitcoin, $399 in Ethereum, 214 in AVAX. So I'm gonna send 1486 back over to my YouTube wallet. So let's just go here. Where is it? Send. Just send it this way. Yeah, hit send. I'm gonna select 2. I'm gonna select this. I'll select 1.2, 1.1, 1.15. All right, I'll send that here. And it's whitelisted. All right. I gotta send a little more than that. I just realized 1.16789. All right, this should be. Here we go. Let's set. All right, send. Okay, so when I do this, I'm literally sending this to the other wallet. So this is the one I'm sending to the wallet that you typically see on YouTube. It's the one that I've made public for DeFi Kingdoms. And now that I'm done this, we should be able to sort of go through this. Wait for this to sort of update here. Cool. How did I refresh this? Cool. I'm now at 999.94. And you can see here, I wish I could show, I'm just going to screenshot this so that's just easier to do it. And I'll bring it here so you can see it. Okay. So this is my current account standing. Okay. Close enough to 40-40-20. Okay. Like, not perfect. I'm like 6 cents below, but this is sort of the way I've started. Remember, I put $1,000 in so far. So we're going to track how this does. We're going to track all the tokens over the next, few months, few years. I'm not going to do very often updates. I'm trying to aim for maybe once a week. And then every time I do it, I'll talk about what's happening with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Avalanche. And as I sort of, go on further, maybe I'll swap some of these tokens for other tokens as well, branch out, or even consolidate over time. The reason for that is potentially there is an Avalanche unlocking happening where I think 2 to 3% of Avalanche tokens will be minted as, and they'll be not minted, sorry, they'll be released to the core team, and then there'll be some selling pressure. So I do expect Avalanche to come down a tiny bit as a result of it. But even then, I will talk about every single move and what has happened with those tokens and what I expect to happen in the future. Like I said, if you would love to play along, feel free to do it. Remember, it's $1,000 to start, and every 2 weeks, so every 2 Thursdays, and I line it up this way because I get paid every 2 Thursdays, I'll put $200 into this account, and I'll figure out once again, how do I rebalance it? What tokens do I buy? And I'll make a video talking about that. So hopefully that helps. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, as always, would love it if you could subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on All Tech, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. We got a free public Discord if you want to talk about the challenge or anything else related to crypto and stocks. I want to thank you all for watching. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.